everyone. I wanted to talk today about hazardous pay for correctional officers. Now, I myself believe that across the country that should be done during a pandemic, during an emergency situation. You know, in the military they have combat pay when you go out for extra hazardous duty, and this is extra hazardous duty every day for us, but now you add the COVID-19 and you've really added and made it very hazardous to our correctional officers. Now, there's a group of us that have been talking about getting a petition or talking to Florida legislatures about hazardous pay for correctional officers. We have to do this steps with baby steps. We have to talk to our PBA representatives here in Florida, our Police Benevolent Association. I know two of them personally that are working in PBA right now that I worked with years back when I was in corrections in Florida, retired a couple of years ago. So these guys are still there today, and we need to work together with the Florida Correctional Officers, the Police Benevolent Association, and then move upward and get with our legislatures and get with our Florida politicians and find out how we can work this petition in legally, number one, where we don't get in trouble with our supervisors at work, because we don't want to step on anybody's toes. We have a lot of administration that is with us and for us and remembers where they came from. But unfortunately, you know, you here in Florida, the rest of you across the country, I think have similar issues in some places. We have some administration that seems to forget where they came from. Okay? So we need to be very careful how we go about this. We don't want to fight for our correctional officers and have some administrator try to punish us by saying we took the wrong route, which, you know, it's just crazy. I know that sounds crazy. It bothers me a lot. But if we're doing something for the betterment of the correctional officers, there shouldn't be anybody complaining about that. But you know what? There's red tape everywhere. There's red tape in every job there is. So we have to do it baby steps, check everything out, do it carefully, work with PBA, work with our administration in Florida Corrections, and then start hitting the politicians. And I think it's a great idea that was brought to me today by some officers that I know, and I think it needs to be done. And as a matter of fact, PBA's already been spoken with today by a very good sergeant friend of mine, and he has spoke with them today. It's Sunday, I know, but they took the time to speak with them, and that's what they're there for. PBA is there to represent the officers, and they took some time out of their Sunday to speak with the sergeant about this issue. You know, we have National Correctional Officers Week coming up this week. We want to thank all the correctional officers for what they do, and now is as good a time as any to talk about hazardous pay, as it is National Correctional Officers Week coming up. And why do we want hazardous pay? Why do we deserve hazardous pay? Okay, we never bring forth a problem without trying to have an answer for it. So here's my answer. Every day, correctional officers place their lives on the line, facing many dangers. And every day, correctional officers put their lives on the line to protect us, and we must protect them. Now with COVID-19 and the pandemic, we even have more hazards to face. Some of the hazards we face, and I won't get them all, but I'll get as many as I can, are attacks by inmates, which cause injuries, which cause death, diseases that are spread, tuberculosis, COVID-19, you name it. If there's a disease, it comes from the streets and the jails into the prison system. And into the jails, of course, because they come off the streets with the disease. Also, we face stress, long hours, double shifts, low pay. We have a lot of overwhelming activities that we must take care of with very little sleep. We risk everything. We have the high rate of suicide in corrections that is equal now and getting very close to surpassing military personnel suicides. This is National Correctional Officers Week coming up. Why don't we start fighting for hazardous pay this week? Why don't we? Very proud of the person who contacted me today about this and asked me to help out and jump on board, and I'll do everything I can to help out. Just ask me. I'll even go to Tallahassee and stand in front of politicians, legislatures with you if they will hear us. And if we can get a petition in like this for hazardous pay for Florida correctional officers. There's another man out there that should be on board with us and go with us. Philip McGinnis, a retired captain who has a YouTube. Please check out Philip McGinnis, retired Florida captain. Check out his YouTube. His YouTube is growing. He says it like it is, folks. He's the plain talking captain. I like plain talking people who tell it like it is. No sugarcoating, no trying to make everybody happy. This is the kind of guy you want on your team. Retired captain from North Florida, Philip McGinnis. Please check out his YouTube and subscribe. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube, please subscribe. Now, folks, get the word out that it's National Correctional Officers Week, that we want to get a petition going to get hazardous pay for Florida correctional officers. I hope they can do it for everybody across the country, all 50 states. It's a tough thing. You know, a lot of people look at us and go, you're already getting paid a salary, medical benefits, dental benefits, and now you want hazardous pay? Hey, walk in our shoes for a week and then tell me the correctional officers don't deserve hazardous pay. Walk into that jail or prison with poor equipment, poor masks. Some of them are just claws, not the proper equipment we need to protect ourselves. Walk in that prison or jail without a weapon, outnumbered 100 to 1, 150 to 1, 200 to 1. Before you start talking bad about correctional officers, you walk in there and you do it for a week. Do that job for a week and then tell me that that's something that you would do for 20, 25, 30 years, 35 years like many of us have. Okay, I'm just getting some things off my chest, and had a conversation with a friend of mine a little bit ago and through text messages, and got me fired up also. So thank you very much for what you all do out there every day, every night, every hour, placing your lives on the line to protect the citizens in your community and standing between the criminals and the citizens. Please tell a correctional officer thank you this week, especially. I wish you would do it all year round, but it's National Correctional Officers Week coming up. Please back us up, everybody, on hazardous pay during pandemics. Please back us up that we get mandatory first responder testing during pandemics, that they get tested immediately whether they have symptoms or not, so we can immediately jump onto the situation and give them the proper health care and remove them from the area to prevent spreading of the disease. There's so many things that we need to do for correctional officers, first responders, that we're not doing, and it's about time we start doing it. Thank you for watching Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe.